Lamplight Audiobooks presents Violet's Children by Maureen Lee, narrated by Maisey. Part 1. Chapter 1. Liverpool, 1950. She was on her way home from work. The letter was on her knee in her navy blue patent leather handbag. Violet rubbed a faint spot off the side with her gloved hand before clicking it open. There wasn't much inside: a small diary with a pencil tucked in the spine, rosary beads in a little felt pouch, her mother's cracked leather purse that she'd had ever since Violet could remember, a perfectly ironed white hanky with an embroidered corner, and a comb and hand mirror that had been in the bag when it was bought. Today, because it was Friday, there was also a wage packet containing £18, 4 shillings and 6pence. And the letter. It had been in the packet with the wages and was still folded into 4. Violet hadn't yet read it. She caught her breath. The money was exactly twice her usual wage, and the only reason she could think of for having been paid so much was that she'd been sacked with immediate effect, and the extra money was in lieu of a week's notice. "You're a terrible pessimist, Violet," her mother's voice came to her from across the years. "With you, the glass is always half empty, never half full." If Mam were alive, she'd say the extra money might be a bonus, a reward for Violet's hard work for more than 3 decades. "Or perhaps they've given you a rise, love." "They'd never double my wages, Mam." Violet carried on the imaginary conversation inside her head. "Oh, all right, maybe not," Mam conceded. "But they'd never sack you either. You've been with Briggs Motors since you were 14, girl, when the place was no more than a shed. Now you're secretary to the managing director, and it's one of the biggest firms in Liverpool. Norman Larkin thinks the world of you, so stop being such an old misery guts and cheer up." The trouble with talking to a dead person was that they weren't aware of the full facts. Mam had passed away only a few months before the war had ended. Unless there was a way of receiving messages in heaven, she wouldn't know that Norman Larkin had gone to meet his own maker only last year, and Douglas Penny had been appointed in his place. Douglas was an ex-Royal Air Force officer with a ridiculous moustache and a dead posh voice. As if he had a plum in his gob, as Violet's mam would have said. He didn't bother to hide his resentment of inheriting a secretary as old and unattractive as Violet. He was quite openly having an affair with Beryl Daly, more commonly known as the blonde bombshell, who worked in the typing.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?